Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Now that we are aware that the first information drop for Total War Warhammer 3 in-game is going to happen this month, I feel like now's the time to try and predict and speculate any future drops with regards to the base game of Warhammer 3, the last remaining DLC for Warhammer 2, and of course the pre-order incentive for Warhammer 3. It's important to note that previous trends with regards to Creative Assembly and previous information drops might not be relevant here, but without further ado, let's begin. So we are aware that the first information drop will happen on the 13th of May. This has been confirmed by Creative Assembly and various content creators such as myself. When information normally drops for DLC, keep in mind I'm using DLC for reference here, it normally becomes the main focus topic for some time, and normally when it comes to a full game, it is commonly promoted for quite some time until the release. However, when it comes to main titles, if we look at the more recent titles such as Three Kingdoms, A Total War Saga Troy, and even Thrones of Britannia, there seems to be a little gap when it comes to the first showcases, where after which CA normally go dark for a small amount of time, and I'm more or less expecting this to be the case for Total War Warhammer 3. This of course makes sense if they follow the previous format. You can reference this yourselves by scrolling down the official Total War YouTube page. You'll see that there are different gaps between certain releases, the first showcases, and everything else. Of course, I may be wrong here, but that seems to be the common thing recently. So, I know this is something that people don't want to hear, however this might potentially be a good thing. As we are all aware, there is a DLC missing for Total War Warhammer 2. Everyone is very much hoping for this to be the fabled Beastmen DLC, and I hope so too because, well, the Beastmen really suck at the moment. The previous DLC, The Twisted and the Twilight, released in very early December, meaning that June will be the 7th month that we've had no upcoming content for Total War Warhammer 2, and no, I'm not counting Rakov in this because he was an FLC character, so it's possible that during June we'll hear about the final DLC for Warhammer 2, though I'm not sure if this means that we'll see an announcement or release in June. In my opinion, I think that we'll likely see an announcement near the end of June and a release very early or mid-July. I'm expecting that more or less shortly after the DLC releases, then Creative Assembly will ramp up the promotion for Warhammer 3 again, as obviously they'll want to make the DLC the main focus so they can sell as many copies as possible. This is likely to carry on for a few months, and I think that by this we can start predicting when the release date of Warhammer 3 will come. Yes, I know there's a pre-order DLC to talk about, but let's talk about that in a little bit. There's always a fairly large gap between the announcement of a title and then the eventual release. This has always been the case for Total War games, so the gap is to be expected. However, we might have already been told the release date without us knowing. If you would recall, prior to the announcement of Warhammer 3 there were various different teasers, and one of which said that it was Gahamishnat Eve, and as always when referencing that word, apologies for the butchered pronunciation. That in itself is pretty much Warhammer Halloween, which could make me think that we might see a Halloween release area. Of course, that wouldn't be Halloween itself as that falls on a Sunday this year, but around that time, which would be either a week before or a week after, which if you go by previous titles like I said, it very much follows the format that Creative Assembly have adopted for their releases. Now, yes, this is a long time away, however, this also might mean that we will get the pre-order incentive DLC for Warhammer 2. And by that I mean that the race pack itself would be playable in Warhammer 2, just like Norska, which was the pre-order incentive for Warhammer 2 itself, ends up being playable in Warhammer 1. This would likely release either a month or two before, which would mean around September-ish. Which if we go by how DLC is normally spread out in Warhammer 2, this makes perfect sense. That would be around 3 months from the possible DLC, which we're more or less thinking is going to release around June. The shortest time I believe we've had between DLC is 3 months, so this kinda makes perfect sense to me when you think about it. As this of course would allow people to play whatever the next DLC is, start hyping up Game Free even more and more, and then announce the pre-order DLC. And if the pre-order DLC, which we know is a confirmed race pack, is playable in Warhammer 2, well, this gives incentive for players to pre-order Game Free even more. That would be the final crunch for a month or so to be able to play a new race. There's still no news regarding what that could even be, but likely it could be Chaos Dwarfs or even Dogs of War, but at the same time drive up the pre-order sales for Game Free, as those two races, I'm not saying it's them because it could literally be anyone, but those two races themselves are considered quite requested, so this does make sense from a business point of view. At least that's the way I see it myself. Of course, if the pre-order incentive is not going to be playable in Total War Warhammer 2 and is only available in Warhammer 3, then of course we could probably expect the game earlier. This is in case the pre-order incentive is the Ogre Kingdoms or the Chaos Dwarfs, but with no intentions of making the Chaos Dwarfs playable in the Mortal Empires campaign, despite the fact that their regions are pretty much all there. Then I'd say that we should be able to expect Warhammer 3 around September, as Creative Assembly do seem to favor September release dates or as close to it as possible. Of course, I'm very heavily theory crafting here, so I could be wrong, but it's been a fair amount of time since I've been able to do a proper tinfoil hat theory crafting video like this, and honestly, given Creative Assembly's trends, it's very possible that this could work out like this. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this is the possible way that we'll see a release schedule, or do you think it'll be done in a different way? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fame level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.